and gentlemen, welcome everybody to the SarCAST podcast. This is the third episode. We're still going strong. We did miss last week though, Arashi. We did miss last week. It's fine because we're here now, boys. All right, and we've got the news stacked up together. There's just so much to talk about, man. There's so much to talk about. And before that, though, we're just gonna have some time to chill. Obviously, we are here with Arashi Hoshi. You're in my right. There you go, Arashi Hoshi. How are you doing, buddy? You just woke up. You still have those sleepy eyes, man.
I got the baked look, right? I got the slightly red eyes. But we good. It's fine. It's all according to plan. Not really, but it's okay. It's gonna work out.
You should work out, bro.
I should.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have like weird sleep schedule. Because I plan on staying up the whole day. And then halfway through, I'm like, I'm too sleepy. I'll take a small nap. You know, y'all been there, right? It's the classic.
Yeah, man. I've there are many times in my life I had my sleep schedule kind of it wasn't doing great, but I recovered. You've always seemed to be trying to recover, Arashi, but it always ends up fucked sometimes.
Dude, I'll have you know that it did recover. I was normal for a period of time, right? Especially since we're approaching the season. Like I want to be more routine, healthier. But then I was helping a guy out at like 2 a.m. right? So
That's what she said.
That's what heroes do, yeah.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, there you go, guys. But I do want to shout you guys out. Everybody who's literally here since I started the stream. Shadow Murderer, shout out. Quattro, Captain YT, Clipper's already here, man. He's ready. We got Ken, Ray Anthony, Kier, Quattro again, Gerald, Febby, Seba, Pauline, Ali. We also have some other members. Seth is here. Kier is here. Doc G and my moderator Sheffin is also here. Yeah, Falcon is playing currently, going up against an Indo team in Top Clans, the tournament. But yeah, man. MPL ID and PH season 10 is about to start. MY I think will start like next week. So we are very close. We are very close to season 10. This is going to be honestly I've just been so hyper, Arashi. Can you relate to this? Like, cause me personally, I've been counting the days, and ever since I got back to MSC, it feels like the days are so slow. They're going by so slow, man.
Oh man, I mean, you probably can't relate to this, but some people in chat might. I get very nervous, right? I've always been a nervous person. I get like jitters and stuff, So I know the season's coming because I'm starting to feel damn, it's about to begin. I gotta prepare.
Oh,
but
man.
then I don't do anything to prepare anyways, and so I still stay nervous until the event actually begins. Classic. Oh,
yeah.
You flashed the audience there, Mirko.
I what?
You flashed the audience.
Did I flash the audience, Arashi? No, I didn't. It's we're chill. We're chill. But yeah, man. I want to talk a little bit about season 10 because now Arashi, we're gonna talk a little bit about this more, obviously, as the episode, as we go towards the topics. But rosters have been revealed here and there. Mostly PH, right? But we're not going to really touch on the PH rosters here today. I want to talk more about the ID rosters and like basically the ID. Yeah, what's going on in ID, right? Because like there's just so much going on, like the transfer rumors, and still to this day, a lot of them haven't been confirmed, right? We'll talk about this more. But what are you most excited for in season 10, Arashi? Because I think for me, right, season 10, it's very different from the past seasons. I don't know how to tell it. I don't know how to explain it properly, but for me, it feels like the teams are way more motivated. They're more motivated this season. It really feels that way, right? With all the imports coming in. And I feel like every single team, they're going to go guns blazing. It's such a cliche thing to say. Every season we're always saying that like, oh yeah, the new season is going to be more competitive, blah, blah, blah. But this season, like, I'm not even joking. It is going to be the most competitive season, I think, right? With all the imports coming in and with all the eyes on every single region. PH, because they just won everything in the last 2 years, and ID with all the imports coming in. And obviously, I think every single region has something to offer this season 10,
Absolutely. And I think big point on the Indo being more competitive because at this point, I mean, last year, people are still having like debates, Oh yeah, Philippines got lucky. Indonesia is on top as always, but Philippines got lucky. But now they got lucky twice, right?
Thrice?
So,
four, five?
exactly, like fool me once, fool me twice. So once they got it twice, I think now there's that shift in the perspective. No, I think quite unanimously, most people agree now that the Philippines is on top. And so it's an unfamiliar territory for Indonesia to be on the back foot.
Yeah.
And maybe this is exactly what they need, as you said. Now teams are importing Filipino players as well. And so the Indonesian players just have that much more motivation to prove that like we're better, right, than the Philippines, and we won't lose to these imports, like trying to show that I don't know that Indo pride essentially through their gameplay. So I think it's gonna be a very exciting season indeed. And there's gonna be a lot of like drama or like there's a lot of storylines that the
Yes.
co-casters during the broadcast can explore. So that's quite interesting to like expect, right?
Eterna's really writing down notes for sure, man. Like Eterna,
Absolutely.
Gani, me as the color casters, Arashi still sticking to the analyst role for the most part, right? But
I
yeah,
wouldn't mind hopping over, but we'll see.
yeah, you do have the books, Arashi. You do have the color in you, man. But yeah, I think right now, I think it's time to just jump into the topics, Arashi, because we have a lot of things to talk about. There's so many things that we need to discuss. And let's just go on to the first topic of the day. Let's go. Oh my goodness, Arashi. This is honestly like this is crazy news because this wasn't planned. I did not have this prepared for today because yeah, I mean this just they just posted it earlier today. EVOS SG, thank you EVOS SG Farewell. They all six members are gone. I texted Sayla. I asked him. I was like, "Wait, so are you kicked as well, or are these guys kicked? The ones in the picture, and you're like still in the team?" And he's like, "No, it's done. It's done." So, yeah, EVOS SG
So they just
disband.
wow.
Like, holy man, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Like, what are your thoughts on this, Arashi? Because, dude, this team has been improving every single tournament, right? They got pretty far in M3. They got third place in the SEA Games. Sure, MSC, we didn't really see them go far, but again, we've seen steady improvement with this roster.
Right. And I think me myself, right? I think a lot of people, including myself, underestimated EVOS SG. There's always been
Mm-hmm.
like the lesser EVOS, right? Because like when you compare them to EVOS ID, well, EVOS War, right? It's a bit of an unfair comparison almost for most people, and I think I fell into that like bandwagon kind of as well. Full disclosure.
Mm-hmm.
But as you said, like last season and in the previous tournaments, you do see improvements, and people I've heard from people around that like people around me when we're having conversations about EVOS SG, yeah, they're pretty solid now. They have improvements and they're doing things much better now, and they're actually posing threats to bigger teams. That's always the talks. There's never talks about them doing worse, them just like losing momentum or whatever. So honestly, I'm pretty surprised. I didn't know about this until you told me before the podcast. Actually,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is such
breaking.
sudden news. This is literally breaking news, right? The thing is, we don't know. We don't know where they are. We don't know if Evos are farewelling them and not taking a single one to maybe EVOS Legends, NXP EVOS perhaps, because EVOS is a big brand, right, across Southeast Asia. But my question is right now is are the players from EVOS SG going to be imported to EVOS Legends? Is that why perhaps EVOS haven't revealed their roster, right? Maybe they're preparing for that move. Or maybe, well, NXP is already confirmed because they've already revealed their rosters. But yeah, I guess the only question here is whether or not these players or maybe perhaps the coach will be going over to EVOS Legends, EVOS ID, or no, maybe they're just staying in Singapore. Maybe they just go on with their normal lives now, or perhaps they just join other teams like RSG, who've just won MPL SG before MSC.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of options for them. At the same time, it's like I don't know. Singapore's always seemed like that's the scene that's like very low key. So
Mm-hmm.
I am quite concerned about what the players and the rest of the staff essentially from EVOS SG are gonna do moving forward. Right? It's never a good, it's never a happy like moment when a team disbands. Because like love them or hate them, they are a team. They are
Yeah.
participating. It's like they're struggling the same way our favorite teams are. So it's always kind of sad.
It's very sad, man. Especially if these guys actually don't find like other teams, because yeah, they're all so talented, right? They're all also very like they're quite new. I mean, yeah, obviously JPL has been there for a long time, Soul as well, but the newer members, right? Their new jungler, and Gear as well, and Adamir, Sayla, they're all quite new to they're all quite new to EVOS SG. So the fact that their careers might be over now, hopefully it's not over. Hopefully they do like join other Singaporean organizations and maybe make it back to the top here, because it's honestly sad to see, but this is where the EVOS kind of we're going to be discussing EVOS a lot today, guys. There's a lot of EVOS news, and I think you guys have most probably seen the EVOS news from last week, but there's a topic above all of this, all right, that I want to discuss. We'll get into that after we move on, but as we are on this point, EVOS, let's still stay on this point, right? Let's stay on this point, Arashi. Let's stay in the point of EVOS, and let's go over to the next topic. Branz. My goodness, no, my boy. He's no longer a red. He's blue. No. Yeah, bro. This is confirmed. He's already been playing. He's been playing a lot of games for EVOS already in the Hero tournament. So yeah, I mean, this is a rumor that's been going on since season 9, since obviously he left Bigatron. But with him actually joining the roster, it is crazy. It's absolutely crazy, right? Like, this is the rival team. This is BTR's rivals. This is a team that they met in the season 7. Well, if you can't beat them, join them, Arashi.
Well, but hang on. I'm not sure if I'm gonna promote that, like, the idea, that notion. But yeah, turning from red to blue, when I bet Mirko in particular is devastated because he speaks highly of Bigatron and Branz as well in proxy to that. And he used to be the captain, right? So it's a really shocking move, honestly. Like, what a jump. But then again, EVOS is known to, I don't know, snag players who are like, who don't really have a spot yet. Technically, it's not the first time we've seen moves from other teams towards EVOS. They are a powerhouse team, so they have the, I don't know, the liberty, the opportunities to try and make these maneuvers. So we'll have to see. Gold laner in Branz in the gold lane, right? So he'll be going up against Clover if he wants to like step up. And we're talking a bit about this before the podcast, right, Mirko? Like, there's a chance, you know, on Clover's off day and Branz's best day, like there is a possibility he gets overtaken. So I think the consistency will be the question here. Who is more consistent, I think, will get that spot. Because I think that's how Zace likes to operate. Then again, we've had our own thoughts about how Zace seems to be quite unpredictable these days.
But right now, I think it's been revealed by EVOS, the organization, that it's no longer the coach who has the final say of who gets to play in the MPL, who gets to play in the MDL. It's actually the management as a whole now. So yeah, it's not Zace's decision, fully his decision anymore, right? So it's more to the hands of the management. But yeah, right now, just to confirm it for everybody in the chat, Branz is going to be playing in the gold lane, and he's playing currently for EVOS Icon, EVOS's MDL team. So he's not in the MPL just yet, but this is the thing, right? Now Clover, he needs to pop off to keep his career safe, I guess, in the gold lane, right? Because I think Clover has been one of the most underrated gold laners in MPL since season 7. Well, in season 7, he did pop off with the 1-1, obviously, but other than the 1-1, other than the Harith, we rarely see him kind of like pop off, you know? He's a solid gold laner on Beatrix, on Clint, but he's not the same. When he gets the 1-1, he's leagues on top of everybody, you know? So now, with Branz coming in, this guy is, he's what a lot of people call the king of marksman, right? The marksman god, the man, the guy who's just known to play marksman. With him coming back, we've seen his performances in the gold lane when he was in Bigatron, right? Now he's probably improved, even more because he had a lot of time, off time to just practice his Beatrix. Because I saw his Beatrix, dude. He's so good on Beatrix. Yeah, I don't know, because I have a feeling, and this is a sad feeling, and also it's a mixed feeling, right? It's mixed feelings, but I think Branz might take Clover's position in EVOS Legends in the MPL team, man.
All right, that's a sad possibility because Clover is at this point a familiar face, right?
Especially for you.
I literally live with the guy for a bit. I know insider info on Clover, but we won't be talking about that. Although, I will say that, like, in a way, it's good, right? Because now the fact that there's two people competing, this is where both of them will like help each other improve. Essentially, like a rivalry is always going to be needed, right? And although a rivalry internally within your team isn't always the best of ideas, right? It's still a rivalry nonetheless. So I think it's gonna it's gonna elevate the performance
Evolate.
of Brands and Clover. You know, so I think we can expect great things from Evos in the near future.
Yeah, honestly, we'll see. We'll see how this works out in the end, right? But before that, well, let's read some of the chat here because the chat has been going on, especially Radit Overkill, fellow caster,
Oh,
MDL. What's up, Radit? Can't wait to cast with you
okay.
again. Do we even have a schedule together? I haven't really looked at the schedule, but yeah, man, thanks for being here, everybody as well. I think EVOS SG is importing Filipinos in their team. Ooh. Maybe that's a solid opinion. We obviously don't know whether or not they just like no, maybe they just kicked all the every. There's no way they have 5 though. There's no way they kick all the Singaporeans and like
Not
get 5
allowed,
Filipinos.
right?
It's not allowed. Yeah. Now that I think about it, there are regulations. So I think that's definitely not the case. I think if they kicked everyone, if they kicked only a few people, I maybe, but they kicked everyone. So I think EVOS SG is actually no more. They might have just disbanded for good. But is there any rumor why EVOS SG disband? Now, okay, we can kind of speculate here, Rashi. Obviously, we don't know the reasons, but you have any speculations?
Ooh, I don't know.
Right?
I mean, to be honest, like the whole idea, people really think that esports is like big money, right? And which is true, but at the same time, if you're not doing that good, right? I think we've had this discussion like multiple times. If you're not doing that well as a team, it's very hit or miss in a sense. You know, if
Mm-hmm.
you're Evos, like you can see on Brand's jersey, right? You get all these sponsors, you get all the recognition, you get all the fans. But if you're doing like just decent average, right? If you can't manage to gain a following, let's say not through winning, but through maybe like good community building and like social media presence, it's really quite the cash demanding business. So if it turns out that it's a purely financial decision, it I would understand as someone who's like kind of looked into it. It's really a really brutal industry, honestly. Like it's new, so it's very hit or miss, and it's very I don't know. You either I forgot the term for it. It's always like drought or like either you have overflow or like drought. There's no like in
Mm.
between.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
I
not stable at
understand.
all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think for me, my speculation kind of is maybe revenue, right? Maybe revenue because
Yeah.
EOS SG. I mean, I think MPL SG as a whole, right? You've kind of said this, but they're not as big as ID as PH as Malaysia, right? SG is
Mhm.
quite like because obviously Singapore doesn't have the most people, but yeah, exposure equals to revenue, right? And I feel like MPL SG as a whole, they don't get a lot of exposure. EVOS is a big brand, but EVOS SG, even in tournaments, everyone tends to write them off, right? Up against any opponent, they tend to write them off. I mean, based on my personal experience, that's me, right? I kind of write them off. During M3, I was like, okay, EVOS SG, I don't know, I don't think they're gonna perform well, blah 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 blah. In my predictions, so
Right.
with less exposure, maybe less revenue because sponsors, maybe Singaporean sponsors, don't wanna pitch in, don't wanna go and sponsor the brand here. So I think that might be the biggest reason as to why they got disbanded. But SG as a whole right now, I don't think esports is like esports, especially MLBB, or not especially MLB, but just esports in general, is not really supported by the government. The government don't really support them. Yeah, right. Not yet. Okay,
Hmm.
because
Interesting.
for you know how like gold medalists from the Philippines, from Indonesia, when they get gold medals or silver medals for SEA Games, Asian Games, Olympic Games, they get rewarded by the government, right? Because they get the sport,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
So apparently in Singapore, they also kind of have that, but not for the esport titles.
Oh,
So
I
they
see.
when they won the bronze medal, they weren't rewarded with they weren't rewarded by the government, right? So I guess that's the way that MPL SG and the esports in Singapore is trying to go, is trying to develop here. They want to build that first, right? Let's get the government on board, then maybe we can invest more. Then maybe EVOS SG might come back. Maybe, right? Because then exposure will be bigger, obviously, if you get support from the government, and obviously you'll have some better backing.
Right. That's a fair point. Because I know for a fact that in Indonesia we have like government bodies that
Mm-hmm.
are catered for even if let's say it's not exactly esports, but like smaller industries like esports by all means is huge, but it's still a budding industry compared to the other big industries in Indonesia, right? So there are government bodies in Indonesia that is made specifically and given a budget specifically to try and help support and grow the scene. So that's obviously a massive boost in the the revenue as well as like it just shows
20.000
support from the
dari
government. So I think that's a
Dragonwolf.
fair point. If
Pesan,
Singapore doesn't have
Harlow.
that, clearly it's not as it might feel less motivated almost.
Yeah.
Like they're not being supported, right? So
Exactly. That's the big picture, right? Like maybe that's the reason, but that's as a whole, maybe not just the organization itself, because obviously we don't have any explanations from EVOS SG. They just posted that. Thank you, done, right? But shout out Dragonwolf, Harlow, thank you for the 20K, man. But yeah, now that we are off of the topic of EVO's brands, now it gets to even spicier things, Arashi. We're getting to the hot topics. Boom, hot topic, fire. All right. Let's see.
Wow.
Let's see. Yeah, production's getting better, bro. Elgato Stream Deck, perfect. But let's go over. Let's see what other topics we have. All right, because this one's kind of a big story, right? Let's go with the transition over. See you on the next journey, heroes. Antimage and LJ Farewell. Oh my goodness gracious. This was such a big story last week, right? But we didn't do a SarCAST last week. Even if we did, we kind of missed it because the reveal was on Friday, I think. But yeah,
they timed it to like avoid SarCAST.
yeah, they did. They nah, I'm joking. But this is so huge. I kind of talked about this in my stream.
LJ, by the way, the LJ looks like a U.
Yeah. It's the font. But here, let me just L and there you go. There you go. And let's cut back to us. All right. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Antimage and LJ.
Wow.
You want to start, Arashi? This is like, oh my god.
I mean, we always speak very, very highly of Antimage. So, and he's always been iconic, kind of. He's been like almost like the face of EVOS, kind of in a way. He's one of the more experienced players there, and he's consistently had like his own highlight moments as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I found it really unexpected that this happened. And following that, with LJ, you can make a bit more of a case. He hasn't been as active. He hasn't had that much of the limelight, right? In the past few years. So if he wants to go explore greener pastures, it makes a bit more sense. But Anti-Image is definitely a surprise.
Yeah. For me, it's kind of a surprise for both of these players, right? Like, I think equally. Anti-Mage, obviously, there's a little bit more, like, oomph, because this guy's been active. I think he's been maybe one of the most consistent members on this team, right, overall. Season 7, when he joined, oh my goodness, he popped off. Anti-Mage versus everyone, Anti-Mage versus everybody. Even in MSC in that year, he was kind of 1v5ing, like literally 1v5 at some points against Execration. But yeah, This guy just brought so much impact, so much in such a short period of time, right? Because he just joined EVOS in Season 7 and he was able to already create so much of an impact with his team. Mm-hmm. Season 8, we did kind of see a dip in the performance. Season 9, I feel like he was kind of back to almost Season 7 level, but yeah, the team wasn't really in a good spot, I feel like, right? As a whole, maybe the communication, the synergy, I don't know what exactly was going on under the table, in their kitchen, but I just didn't feel like everyone was in sync. But for LJ, you're right. There is more reason, it's more explainable, I guess. Yeah, right? That's the word. But this guy, sure, he didn't get a lot of chances to play, but whenever he played Arashi, this guy was popping off. Hilda, when he stepped in Season 7 for Rect, he played the Hilda. He smashed their I forgot who they were up against, but I was so impressed by his performance. And in Season 8, right? I think it was Season 8. He was brought in to play in the El Clasico. He picked up the Jawhead and Albert did not play. He was always zoned away in his own jungle, in team fights every time. LJ just, he shines so bright. Every single time he gets playtime, he's so good. But that's the question, right? Why didn't he get playtime? Why didn't he get as much playtime?
Maybe it just comes down to the playstyle, right? Because they always use Rect, and as we mentioned, and every time we have analytics, and like as the analyst, it's always like I'm always in charge of the ways to victory, and there's always like, oh, make use of Rex's like decision making and his support, his support orientated like hero pool. So maybe that's just how they prefer, and if that's how it is, then LJ by default will have a lot less playtime. And the meta, as we saw, I don't know. It's still, we haven't seen that swing from like early game dominance to like late game dominance, right? Because like right now the teams on top, we talk about the Filipino teams, and they're always so solid in the late game as well. So maybe, right? Maybe if the previous season was a lot more aggressive, like a lot more early game orientated, maybe LJ would have stepped in a lot more. So as of right now, I guess he just wants to play more, because yeah, he can show occasionally that he can like stand up with the rest of the big boys, but obviously if you're a pro player and you're keeping your skills so sharp, you want to get more chances to like show it off, not
Mm.
just once or twice a season, right? It's a bit sad from his perspective as well.
Yeah.
So maybe that's it, I
Mm.
guess.
Yeah, it's solid
Side
opinion,
note,
but
he's been
Mhm.
very buff, right?
Yeah, dude, LJ got so buff. So yeah, he's been
On a
taking.
side note,
Yeah, he hasn't been playing a lot maybe, but yeah, he's been putting on effort on in the different division, right? Maybe he wants to be a bodybuilder now, maybe, right? LJ.
been lifted.
But yeah, I was shook when he posted the picture of his like body transformation. The man's ripped now. But yeah, speaking of that more aggressive style, we're back to the pure tank meta, Arashi. We're back to the Chos in the mid lane, the Kufras, the Francos. It's LJ's meta. That's why I was kind of like, that's why I was so confused and I was so rattled, right? Surprised by this announcement, because I felt like because obviously there's this whole controversy about Rekt not playing in season 10. I thought that, okay,
Right,
if
right.
Rekt doesn't play, then who's gonna play? LJ. That's the first player that comes into mind, right? Bajan
Yeah,
as
the
well,
obvious
sure.
answer.
EVOS Icon tank. Well, LJ was technically an EVOS Icon tank as well last season, and they won, right? So he's still langganan juara. He's still like every single time he joins the team, he wins, right? I think he has the most trophies, like domestically, out of everyone. Yeah. But yeah,
He's
I
good
thought it
luck.
was going to be LJ who becomes the new tank for EVOS Legends. Turns out it's not. And for Antimage, this is the thing, Arashi. Okay, a lot of people in the chat, they're just like, oh yeah, Anti-Mage, he just wants to focus on mukbang, etc. Well, I understand that is the easiest reason that you can come up for, right? Because obviously he's been killing it on YouTube. He's been killing it. He's been getting tons of views on his mukbangs. But I honestly think that this man, the passion he has for the game, you can still see it. Even in season 9, even when he plays just in ranked. When you watch his stream, he's so passionate about the game. He's so passionate about the game. He always loves to explain, etc. But wait, to be honest, I
Dari
support you more
Samuel.
than how
Pesan.
SG goes play
TBH.
sports.
Ooh.
Thank you.
What a
Thank you,
statement.
Samuel.
How the SG
There you
Gofan
go.
support
Statement from Samuel
esports.
Lee, a Singaporean as well. 100K. Thank you so much, man. But yeah, back to the point. Anti-Mage, I think he still has a lot of passion, and obviously he has a lot of motivation as well. He wants to play. He wants to participate in the M World Series, dude. That's the thing. Every single Kage has made it to the M World except for him. So that kind of drives him, right? Back in season 8, he said that. He was like, all right, I don't care. I'll play until I reach that goal. I want to win M World, right? So it's really surprising to see him go, but with him gone, I don't know who's going to replace him, right? Most people are probably going to be like, oh yeah, sure. Anti-Mage out, Pendragon in. MDL didn't. The MDL team EVOS Icon did not announce Pendragon as their XP laner. So the easiest solution is, okay, Anti-Mage was knocked out. Pendragon is now in. He had a solid season last season in MDL. Pendragon was amazing, but I think there's a better replacement here. I think we all know what I'm teasing, right? Dalarski to EVOS Legends, guys. This might be
This is an
true
assumption.
now, right? It's still a prediction. It's not true. Yeah, it's still a rumor, but at this point, man, I don't know. Like Anti-Mage. If you want to fill Anti-Mage's position, you need someone with the same impact, the same pressure, perhaps even more in lane. And I think Dalarski would be good.
I think so. I mean, especially if you see how EVOS plays, there's a lot of impact that's just like riding on the shoulders of Anti-Mage all this time, right? In that EXP lane. They use it to gain dominance, they use it to try and assert pressure in the jungle as well. Like how the game works right now, every single lane can actually have an impact. And we were looking at like several different clips like again, but like yeah, he needs we need with how EVOS plays. If you just get someone who can just barely get by in the EXP lane, that directly translates to every one of the members of EVOS having to play differently because they're
Mm.
gonna be used to anti-mage just being there, being unkillable, drawing pressure, right, and being there to support them when things go wrong. So big shoes to fill for sure. Whoever goes into that position.
Yeah, huge shoes, but I think if they if you had to choose, right, who would replace Anti-Mage? A person who was a free agent. It's the general, man. It's the Larsky, right? But I
That makes
actually
sense.
do want to talk a little bit about this more because Dean, obviously, Dean KT, Dean KT. Well, the meme is he's the obe, the office boy of Evos, but we all know that's not true. We all know, yeah, Dean, he is the president, right? The president of Evos Legends, right? And he's actually been streaming a lot, so shout out. I've been watching your streams. I don't know if he's I don't know if he's even watching. Obviously, I don't think he is, but yeah, if he is watching, shout out, man. He's said a few words, and he said that this isn't the words that he said weren't targeted towards any of the Evos members, but basically he kind of revealed something in his stream. So he said that some players didn't want to play. Like there were some players with a lot of they had a lot of requests, right? I don't want to play an MPL ID Season 10 if I don't get paid this much. I don't want to play an MPL ID Season 10 if I have to play with this guy. I don't want to play an MPL ID Season 10 if I don't get this, right? So there are a lot of demands maybe from the pro players, and that may be the reason as to why they farewelled Antimage and LJ. Maybe, right? Again, this is speculation. He said that he's not targeting. He's just giving an example to the viewers to understand. But yeah, like what does this have to do, right? Because he also said in the stream that they are now focusing on players who have the motivation to play. If they want to play, if they want to win, we prioritize them over maybe the veterans who are who are demanding a lot, who are good, but the motivation is starting to die. The hunger is starting to disappear.
Right. I mean, motivation is gonna be a big deal because you can make people play the game 10 hours a day, but if they're not playing with the mindset of improving, I think we've talked about this quite extensively, right? Uh, since way back, I think, between you and me. But yeah, if they just play the game just for the sake of playing the game, then they won't improve. You have to play the game with the specific goal of, let's say you think, okay, my map awareness isn't good enough, right? You have to be playing for 10 hours with the idea that I want to improve my map awareness. Otherwise, that map awareness isn't gonna get better automatically.
Exactly.
You can't just autopilot into the games and expect to improve when you want to play deliberately. It's not the same realm. Casual play, autopilot, and deliberate team play, rank play, whatever. 5-man team oriented play. So yeah, I think if they feel like people, the newer players, right, who have more motivation, who will have more of that mindset, deserves more of a spot compared to the veterans who by all means they have done it before, right? They have been playing with the idea of improving, and now that they are at a certain level, they are better, and they do in a sense need to do it less. But if Evos thinks that more motivation can translate to better players, I think it makes sense. Because if they're still in that mindset as well, oh, I want to get better, I just want to win, right? Then there's also less drama, as you mentioned earlier, right? If there are some demands that are a bit weird, like I don't want to play if this guy's on the team, obviously for management that's a huge headache,
Mm.
right? I mean, I've had my own share of management experience. It's very limited by all means, and I'm not saying I know a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a big problem. I've seen it firsthand, right? It can cause huge issues because yeah, you can make them play together, but let's say me and Mirko are on one team, right? And I've said to the management Mirko's a bit of an asshole. I don't want to deal with this guy, and management is like, well, tough luck, right? We pay the bills here. You have to play. So I play, but in the game, right? When he makes a call, I'll be like, man, screw this guy. I don't like this call. What does he know? Right? With that kind of mindset, it shows in the gameplay. And obviously, if you're a veteran and you're good enough at the game, it doesn't show as much. But when you're at the top level of competition, every little bit matters.
Yeah.
So I think when everyone is young and hungry, and they have that mindset of like, it doesn't matter, right? I don't get along with this guy. It doesn't matter. We both want to win, right? Winning above everything. I think that's just a lot easier, nicer, better for management to deal with. So it's a decision that makes sense in my opinion.
Yeah, and I agree. I actually I'm on the side of Evos here, right? Like they're farewelling a few of their players and they're getting new recruits. They're getting new recruits, and Taz as well wasn't revealed in the Evos icon roster, so I'm pretty sure he's gonna be in the MPL, which is gonna be insane because Taz is gonna be rivals, I guess, with Fairsik for that jungle role, right? But yeah, getting the young people in, getting the hungry players in, the players with a lot of hunger, a lot of motivation, I think that's the right way, right? Because maybe, sure, the veterans are better at the game as a whole, macro, micro, because they've been here for so long. They've been through it all, right? Experience obviously is such a big weapon, is a very good, yeah, it's a very good thing to have as a pro player. But I think motivation is more important, right? If you're hungry to win titles, you can improve, you can get to that level. But if you're not hungry, if you're already at the top, if you already experienced all that and you don't want to do it all again, that's a big negative towards the organization, right? They don't push their limits anymore, and that's what I feel the new young EVOS legends will do. And with this new roster, I actually think there's a lot of people who are like, oh yeah, EVOS might not make it to the playoffs, blah, blah. For me, I think that with this new EVOS, they might actually be like, they might be scary. They might be very scary, you know? It's a coin flip. It's a risky move by the management to, you know, obviously. And the thing is, okay, so Antimage said also in his stream that one and Luminaire won't be playing. If that's the case, then then the veterans will be out. Like, literally, we're not going to have any M1 members anymore. The world roster won't be there. If this is true, right? Well, if Antimage, because Antimage said this on a stream, not sure if it's true, but apparently they're not playing in the team.
Yeah, I mean, the saying goes like talent beats hard work when hard work isn't working, right? Basically, but so again, I think having more motivation and having, I don't know, more improvements will actually like overtake the existing like skill set for the most part. But it's also, I also want to say like it's not a dig towards like Antimage or LJ or any player who thinks like, you know, whose motivation kind of dwindles, because guys, it's a very tough life. Because like I lived in the gaming house before, like it's a gaming house, and people play like from morning till night with only like food breaks. They only get 1 day off a week essentially, or even half day off a week. So it's a very difficult and tough life, and I really don't think that realistically you should be doing it like for years on end. In my personal opinion, right? Some people might give me shit for it, like, oh, why? Because like that's how you get better. That's how you get good. Well, yeah, but like, is it worth getting better if you just lose your passion for the game? You get what I mean?
Yeah,
Obviously,
I understand.
when you like the game, right? Then your practice sessions, your strategy meetings becomes fun. The same way us players, we always like discuss with our friends, right? Like, hey, you know, what about this new meta? How about this strat, right? Because we like the game. It's enjoyable. I think there's a good balance there, because once you get to the territory of like, you know, I'm not enjoying this. This is absolutely a chore. Yeah, if you're still like working for the championship and you were so close, you can power through it, right? But once you achieve it, that's like a lot of pressure, just like deflating. And I think they just lets you like go up and like crash really hard. And I think that's why even VOIs like took a break, right?
Mm-hmm. The
Exactly.
burnout, right? Maybe perhaps that might be burnout if they keep on playing there.
Exactly. So I think having breaks is absolutely important, and maintaining the, I don't know, the love for the game essentially, because right now it's just so competitive that most organizations, they just want their players to just play nonstop, just go robot, go machine. But we're people in the end, you know, so I think that's just not so realistic. So that's the other point. I think players, or maybe orgs in general, need to actually put an emphasis on that as well, you know. Improvements, yes, but there's no point in like having more results if your talents, your human resources are gonna, I don't know, drop in quality, or like or they're gonna leave because they don't feel like, I don't know, they feel burnt out, they feel tired, they feel underappreciated because they don't have enough like times off, right? I think mental health and workplace environment really plays a big role, especially in like any kind of team-based setting.
Yeah, I agree. You know,
Sorry.
but yeah, there you go, Arashi. I just let you, finish your point first before reading the Canadian Dilit Cardi who donated $2 man. Dude, shout out, buddy. Thank you so much for donating. And dude, you're very Canadian. Literally, he said sorry in his comment. Off topic, sorry. Thoughts on BTK Victor back in form? No worries, man. Very Canadian of you to say sorry right away. But yeah, man, it's great. It's great. I feel like Victor has always been he's been a huge, very big impact on the team, right? And M3 as well. We've seen this. Victor, Shark, they all work as a team together because they all have their own roles here, right? So with that, him being in form again, I think BTK will come back stronger. Will they be as strong as their M3 version? Not too sure, but they will come back stronger than they were in NACT. Because in NACT, yeah, I don't know, it was kind of messy, right? The way they played, etc. So yeah, that's my opinion. But thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for the donation, $2 Canadian, and sorry as well. I'll give it back. Sorry for not reading the comment instantly because obviously Arashi was talking this topic. But yeah, this though, I want to segue this into the topic of passion, Arashi, because we've been mentioning this word a lot. This discussion in this podcast. Do you think? Because me personally, I think passion in MPL Indonesia in the MLBB esports scene has kind of died down a bit for me, right? As a caster, as a spectator, as a person who enjoys MLBB and MPL ID, it feels like the interviews aren't as spicy as they were before. The stage presence of the players aren't as spicy, aren't as entertaining as it was before. Before, we had Udil, the Kage era. Oh my goodness, that was amazing, right? The interviews with Udil was every single time there was an interview with Udil. I think people, they just watch, right? Post-match, they still watch because of who are they going to interview, right? Is it going to be Udil? I want to know what he thinks. And when Udil talks, my goodness, it feels like he's just in love with the game, right? He wants to show that he's in love with the game. He loves competing. He loves the thrill of competing here. And that's what I like. Same with the stage presence. Maybe they don't show off that much in the interviews, but on stage, everyone we're styling. They walk into the arena with style. They pose. They do the things. They do their own things, and it's so cool. Like back in the day, Tuturu had a unique style of his own. RRQ, EVOS, in Donkey, right? He was like when he won, took his shirt off, doesn't care. Yeah, it's iconic. It's always these crazy moments, and now, in my opinion, we're seeing more of that, passion being shown, right? I'm not saying that Indo players don't have passion anymore, but they are rarely showing it in interviews and on the stage nowadays. Because back then they've been doing it. Now, I've actually been more entertained by the Filipino players, like in MSC. When RSG won, Nats just took the trophy and he lifted it in front of everyone and he was like pointing to it. He's like, yeah, talk now to the crowd. And when they won, they did this, right? There's just it's so cool to see because it's a feel good moment if you're an RSG fan, right? Obviously, it's not a really feel good moment if you're an RRQ fan. It's literally the opposite of that. Yeah. But that's what I wanted to see, man. Donkey lifting the trophy without a shirt on, just being happy and stuff. That's something that we're missing, I think, right now in ID. And I don't think it's because the Indonesians are shy. I just feel like this is mostly because of the netizens, because of the people on the internet. Because when you taunt, when you shit talk, right, and you don't play well, you are dead, basically. On Instagram, on social media, you are dead. That's the same in Philippines too, but I guess they just kind of don't care about it, right? Like Kelra does not care about it. He beats someone and he taunts him like this. We actually have a similar thing back in the day. Repo, right? Repo, every time he won, he always had a taunt. He always had something ready, but he got so much hate because of it. Can you believe it? Like, it's so entertaining and people hate on it and now it's gone. And now we're just left with it feels like it's very robotic now. When you win, you just bow to the crowd and you bounce, right? The interviews as well. It's just like, okay, how do you feel about the game? The game, was it good? Yeah, it was good. Yeah, we played it according to our strategy. What's your strategy? I don't know. The coach probably has something to say about that, not me. You just get that.
Why did you pick this hero?
Why did you pick this hero? I don't know. The coach told me to. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I'm good at the hero, man. What do I have to say, right? Or something. Like in PH, you have dance battles and stuff during the pauses too. Like something, yeah.
It's great. I think I agree. Maybe, right? On the other hand, maybe because Indonesia has been right now, MPL is very much. I think it's a lot more established, right? It's one of the more established like leagues in the world right now. So when it becomes more established, it becomes a bit more formulaic, a bit more corporate as well.
Yeah.
So maybe that's partially it. Back then, people are just trying it out. There's no set rules, right? You can do whatever you want. There's nothing. First of all, there's no real rules, ground rules set yet, and there hasn't been any previous incidents that would cause people to worry about. You see, but as times go on, there's probably like a bunch of people. You can argue whether it's correct or not, but there's probably a bunch of people who think, oh yeah, if you go out of the box, right? If we taunt, if we talk shit, even though in good fun, if you just have banter, right? Oh, it might be negative, it might be not PC, it might be not nice, and we want to portray our professionalism. So might be just that shift. And if that is the case, I really do hope that like, okay, now that it's established and like they're just corporate, they seem very corporate at least. Usually afterwards, that's where they will kind of relax. So they'll have a good balance between like the corporate ground rules and also still that spicy, the spicy moments that keep the audience coming back. Because again, we have a color caster for a reason, right? People like drama, and when there's no drama, it's just a bit hard to like get into like the storyline. Yeah, you can still watch the games, right? But afterwards, like, do you really care about like, what's going on with the team, the rivalry? You don't really get a lot of like spice in it. So it's hard to like still be invested outside of the actual games of the MPL. And as you mentioned, I think the netizens, man, they have to like be a bit more forgiving, because Indonesian netizens are already notorious at this point. Like, in order for new things to happen, right, it has to be tried out. And when people try it out, and it's not good, like, or not at the expected level, it doesn't make sense to just give them shit for it. Because like the fact that they're trying needs to be respected as well. But I don't know. Overall, I do think like just in general, our online community needs to improve a lot. And of course, there's plenty of like great people already, but it just seems like the majority is still pushing a lot of like the players, teams, as well as the MPL itself to like play it on the safe side, just in case, Because at the end of the day, right, the MPL, these teams, we're here because of the fans. Right? And I think like the fans don't really understand the impact they have. You guys are like top prio. Customer is king, that's you guys. So I don't know, man. Be a bit more of a benevolent ruler, please.
Yeah, exactly. And in an ideal world, I would like that too, Arashi. I would like to have the netizens be a little bit more, maybe think about what they say, maybe think about what they do, but obviously we don't live in that world. We live in a world where there's toxicity everywhere. It's not just Indonesian netizens, it's netizens all across the world, right? So I feel like the pro players, this is a hard thing, obviously, to ask them to do, but they need to have tougher skin, right? They need to be able to take this, because at this point, we're in the digital era. Everything you do, everything you say is going to be judged. Literally everything you do is going to be judged, and a lot of people won't like you, right? And that's just the fact that you need to accept. Not everyone's going to like you, and that's completely fine. But we just gotta fight it, right? We just gotta ignore it and do our thing, man. Do our thing. Hopefully, we'll get to see a more relaxed, a more open MPL in season 10 with all the new players coming in, right? Fresh blood with a lot of hunger and passion. Maybe in interviews it will show. Maybe in the stage presence again it will show, because that's something I kind of missed when I watched MPL PH season 9 and they walked up the stage and they did those poses, right? Those anime poses. That was so cool. It's cringe to some people, but it's also cool. I like it. It's like what's it called? It's kind of a gamble, right? It can be cringe. It can be cool. I think you should take those kind of gambles, because either way, it's an impression. If you don't do anything on stage, you just walk up and you just look at the camera, then no one really cares, right? Everyone just skips to the game. So, yeah, hopefully the passion. Well, I'm not saying that the Indonesian players don't have passion. They're just not showing it on stage. They're just not showing it in interviews.
Because they show it on streams.
Exactly, that's the point that I want to. Yeah, on streams, they're so crazy. They're so fun. It's so interesting to watch them stream. But when they are on stage, it just feels like it feels like they're not themselves, you know? And I think if they are themselves, if they do express themselves on stage, they will, you know, that can reflect in the gameplay. They'll be more, they'll take more risks in the game. Maybe they'll be more comfortable as well on stage, you know?
Right, without the pressure of like constantly being like judged and having a spotlight on your bad moments, right? Because I can relate kind of. I mean, you know about this, but I got a lot of hate when I tried casting in Indonesian the first time because I wasn't used to it, right? I
Yeah,
got death threats and
yeah.
all that. So like, no, it was serious. And I don't know. I mean, I think your words on having thicker skin like applies to me as well at that point. I mean, you one of the guys who like gave me a lot of support at that time was Mirko, so shout out. But yeah, it's very tough, man. It can be very brutal, but you just have to get used to it, and you have to understand that like that's just how it is gonna be, you know. And if you just do your thing and you still prefer to leave an impression, that's better because like it's better to have 50%. Let's say you're very divisive, yeah. Like what you do, as Miko mentioned, some people think you're cringe, some people think it's cool, right? It's better to have 50% of people think you're cool and 50% think you're cringe compared to like 100% people think you're just like right? So I think that's I don't know the better move for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I agree. You know, hopefully, in this season we'll see a boost. We'll see a boost in a lot of these crazy interviews and stuff. But yeah, I think that's it about this topic, right? Obviously, Arashi experienced the same thing when he was casting in Indonesian, and he got a lot
Legit
of hate
death
comments.
threats, guys.
He got legit death threats. He was like, "Yeah, if dude, you're so bad at casting, you should die." Something like that.
Remember, there was one guy was saying like, why are you even alive, dude? Like, you know, I'm like, cause
Lu
I don't
kenapa
know.
hidup, bro?
Like they'll ask me like firmly but politely to like die.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sorry, I don't want to offend you, but you please don't live, don't breathe.
Basically, don't breathe. Stop
Oh
breathing, dude.
man,
Stop
yeah,
breathing.
yeah. There's always got to be those haters, guys. But I think we're gonna move on to the next
Yeah.
topic. We've stayed on this topic for quite a while, ladies and gentlemen, and the next topic is a spicy one. It's another fire. Boom, got to put that on. Here you go. It's another fire topic. It's Coach Arcadia to RRQ. Out of nowhere, RRQ, they revealed the roster already with their coaches as well. We saw Achil, we saw Fiel, we saw their entire roster. It's a full Indonesian roster. Then, just I think 2 days ago or yesterday, they uploaded a video onto Instagram, onto YouTube, and they announced Arcadia. What? Like what? And Eterna, by the way, I don't appreciate that you don't tell me these things. She was in the video. She was in the teaser. So she probably like shot this a week ago or 2 weeks ago, or maybe a month ago. Hey, man. Not cool, man. Technically, it was cool because I was like, holy shit. Like, this is a good reveal. It's such a good reveal because, oh, man. RRQ, they're starting to grow on me, Arashi. I might be an RRQ fan soon, but no. Bigatron's
RRQ
still
is
number
great.
one. Yeah. Arcadia to RRQ. I feel like, you know, it's this is a good move because obviously after MSC, the biggest thing you can critique about RQ's playstyle is that maybe they lack discipline, right? Maybe they lack the mental fortitude when they are falling behind, when they are on the back foot. And with Arcadia, the former coach of Echo, former coach of Aura, MPL PH Season 5 champion, I think this might be the final piece of this RRQ puzzle. They made it so far to an international event. MSC Grand Finals. Now with Arcadia, this, you know, it's M-World question mark for Indo.
Emerald question mark. I think it's cool, man. Like you can almost see like which coaching staff correlates to like what aspect. Maybe like in the beginning, Coach Achio with the
Aggressiveness.
aggressive play, Feel with the more objective plays, right? The more calculative plays. And since they're like disciplined, now they bring in Arcadia. If you can really see like what each coaching staff contributes, I think that's really cool. And obviously, as an RRQ fan, I always enjoy how they play. I think it'll be really good, and I hope there's like huge improvements because
Yeah.
every time, man, it always seems like they got the potential, they got this, and then they just barely fall short. You know, it's a bit sad, like when you're that close yet so far. So I have great expectations, man.
And yeah, man. You guys, if you guys haven't checked it out, you guys gotta check it out. Like the reveal for Arcadia and the interview with Eterna, it was so cool. It was so well made. Good writing as well. It's like, yeah, because at this point, it's like it's gone to a point where PH imports aren't even special anymore, right? Because there's so much, there's so many imports, there's so many rumors here and there. So Arcadia, it was so low key, and when they revealed it, it was such a big thing because of that. Because they just played it down, right? They played it down, and in the interview, Eterna asked him a question. He's like, "So are you just following the trend of like PH imports coming to Indo?" He's like, "Nah, man. If it wasn't RRQ, I wouldn't have come." Oof, that was a good line. That was a good line, man. Like, I don't know if that was written or that was his actual answer, but that's a pretty good line, man. Like, yeah, I'm excited to see what he brings to the RRQ lineup. Obviously, I've already said this as well. And in terms of just star power alone and individual skill, I think RRQ Hoshi has the best roster in MPL ID still to this day. And yeah, I'm just excited to see what he brings to the table, man. Very excited to see what he brings to the table. Even in the chat, right? Everyone's excited. They're all like, "Yeah, 2-time. RRQ are gonna be back to back, 2-time." And yeah, Arcadia is also 2 times MPL PH champion coach. So he's a veteran. He's not new. He's not new by all means. Yeah. Any final thoughts, Arashi? Because this one's kind of quick one. This is just like the teaser. It was a quick one, but it was a hard hitting one.
Yeah, I mean, experience, right? Like
it was a fire one.
It's a fire. Oh.
Gotta overuse the production, bro.
Make it a meme. Fire. I mean, again, when we talk about RRQ just falling short, especially in those like long drawn out moments, and I think experience is what allows you to just keep calm and keep patient in those kind of situations, right? So I think it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Although, full disclosure, things might not go as smoothly, right? Of course, it's easy for us to say like, okay, see, pieces of the puzzle, miss and match, right? They need this, they get this, it's all gonna like play out perfectly. But like, there's still the possibility that like there's a difference in culture, or just like yeah, he's working with 2 other coaches, right? That's sometimes some coaches can't really like cooperate well, right? There's issues with like synergy in the coaching area, not in the player area. So we'll just have to see. We think someone with such experience won't be having such like, for lack of a better word, mundane issues, but that's why we have great expectations. But fingers crossed, man.
With great power comes great responsibility. I don't know why I said that line, but
all right, Uncle Ben.
Speaking of power, ladies and gentlemen, let's announce the best team, the most powerful team in MPL ID. Give me fire one more time before we go to this fire roster, Arashi. You know who it is, man. You know who it is. It's the boys. Okay, so they actually revealed their roster, but there's still one mystery man in the middle. BTR with the roster reveal. We're getting to the roster reveals now, guys. For season 10, and it's getting pretty interesting, especially this team. I don't know why. But yeah, Bigatron, MPID season 10 roster. I expected more to change. I did not expect. It feels like very little change, It felt like, yeah, Renbo obviously not on the team, which is a huge question mark. We've already gotten information as to why he isn't playing. Apparently, he wants to take a break this season, and he will play when Ken is able to play next season, because Ken is still too young. Regulations, again, ladies and gentlemen, when you want to play in the MPL, you need to be 16. That's age requirement. So technically, right now, Ken, unfortunately, you were born a little bit too late into the year. So if he was born in February, he would have been able to play. But yeah, he's 15.8 years old. Again, I guess that's the official statement from Starless. That's why he wasn't able to play, and that's why he was not in the roster. But this is it. This is a roster. Fala, obviously, they just bought Fala out from EVOS. Moreno stepping in from MDL, coming up to MPL, but we still have the twins, so it is still the twin buff here. And Sorizo, Repo, and obviously the man himself, Key, still, yeah. But who's that man in the middle, Arashi? Who's that man in the middle? Who's the coach?
He has a long neck.
He has a long neck. No, I think that's his. Yeah, but it's come on, guys, come on. Who has that hair? It's Marky. They revealed it with a silhouette, right? Dude, this is like, name that Pokemon. It's Marky.
What if they try and juke you with like Marky's silhouette, and then they show someone completely different?
And then it's Kelra. Maybe. No, I don't know. Kelra's already announced. Dude, every single team in MPLPH have announced their roster, right? So we don't know. We don't know. But yeah, with this team, honestly, I'm hype. I'm hype about this team, bro. I'm really hyped to see what they can bring into the MPL. Fala, I think, is a very good and a very underrated mid laner. This guy, I've been saying this for a long time. He was in Season 8's roster, EVOS, MPL. He was in Season 9's roster, but he never got to play, and he got demoted to MDL. That was a big question for him. I was like, wait, he didn't get any playtime, right? Like, yeah, but now he's in Bigatron, and Moreno as well is in Bigatron. I really wonder how they're going to perform. And they haven't revealed their coach, because Coach Age is no longer going to be the coach for BTR. Man, so sad still, but yeah,
sad, actually.
No more Coach Age. I think there's a trend here, right? The people who they don't announce are usually Filipino, Arashi. So maybe the coach might be Filipino too, right?
Maybe. I mean, it's
right. All the imports, everyone that says everyone who's a silhouette is a Filipino. It's always like that.
It is. As random as it is, like there's common strategy in social media, right? And so if you look at the patterns, like everyone's been following that, like, oh, who is it? Surprise, surprise, Filipino.
What? I don't think anyone expected that.
No one has ever done that.
No one has ever done that in the history of MPL. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this, Arashi? Because they didn't change their roster much, and they haven't been performing well in the last 2 seasons.
All right. I mean, to your great dismay, Mirko, RIP. I don't know. I think they have like it seems weird, right? Last season, how we saw Bigatron's performance, it's always a bit inconsistent, and we've always had questions because Mirko's almost like every 2 weeks or something. Mirko will be like, "This is the week. Never mind, it's not." You know, like it seems to be so inconsistent, and we wonder why. You know,
the start of the season, I was like, dude, Bigatron started off 3-0. They're gonna win the league, bro. They're gonna win, and then they start losing, and I'm like, wait, okay, they're not gonna lose the next. Oh, okay, maybe the next. No, all right, sure. They made it to playoffs. Then they met Aura.
Mirko was making a point about the pattern, right? Every season they just keep going up, and they didn't get it last time, the last season, but. This is the season, bro. This is it. It makes sense. It's destiny. It was not.
It was not, bro.
It was not, unfortunately.
They got knocked out in the first day. I was a sad man. After the broadcast, I was just like...
instantly shambles.
You know, yeah. Yeah, but...
Well, I think, again, with what... I don't know. We can only speculate on what was the exact issue, right? There were rumors about difference in synergy and mindsets because of the whole, like, the bald buff situation, remember? So I think if they get a Filipino coach and someone with experience, we already mentioned that, like, I don't know, they probably have more ideas on how to deal with this, right? Because all in all, coaches are just like people, and like they just have to like manage different personalities. You know, it's quite tough when you have 5 players, and especially if they have like egos, right? You have to like make them like work together, and there are different styles of coaches. I've seen coaches who are very laissez-faire. They're like, okay, no, do whatever what you want. I'll give you like the main guideline on what you got to do, in my opinion. But then you guys do your thing, and that can work. And there's some coaches I see rule with like Iron Hand style, where like, oh, I never told you to do anything like this. You did it in the game, you're out. You're benched instantly. So different styles work for different people. I just hope they find a good balance, because I think Bigatron, we've mentioned it again and again, they have so much potential. It's just not realized yet. Yes.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree?
I've always said this, and this is the reason why I like Bigatron Alpha very much in Season 7. That's why I started, rooting for them. It's because they play in a very, like, they don't play the Indonesian style of MLBB. It really feels like it feels weird. It feels like they play it so slow. They wait. It feels very Filipino-ish. Actually, it's been always like that, right? They're very efficient. They always take the fights that they know they can win. They always just trade out if they don't, and they always go for, like, late game compositions. I think it feels kind of like Omega, right? In a way, where they just wait for that power spike to hit, and then when they have that power spike, when Renbo gets that power spike on the Sicilian, on the Yves, that's when they start like popping off, and as well as the gold lane, Matt. And usually it was Branz who was in the jungle, but obviously without Branz, that sort of late game style kind of ended, right? They couldn't really play with that anymore because Max plays assassins, fighters in the jungle. He doesn't play those marksman heroes because obviously it was meta in Season 8 and Season 9. Yeah, and that's the reason why I feel like they've kind of fell. They've kind of dipped in performance. But there's a very interesting comment in the chat right now by Justine and by by Finch is Life. Yo, Coach BONCHAN said Bigatron are becoming more like a PH team based on their scrims and they're hiding their lineup. Source equals to Coach Bon MPL ID Power Ranking. So apparently Coach BONCHAN made an MPL ID Power Ranking. Haven't watched that yet. If this is true, if my chat isn't trolling me, then yeah, this is what I kind of expected, right? With okay, it's Marky, right? It's come on, there's no one else. Come on, that's Marky. With Marky in and perhaps a Filipino coach because following the trend here, all silhouettes are Filipino. That's the reason why they've kind of they're going back on their old strategy, Arashi. They're going back to the late game style. They're going back to a very objective heavy trade and stop fighting kind of strategy.
Right, and I think if they want to go with that direction, I guess Filipinos members would make sense, right? That is the region that has been very actively using that strat. Although again, personal opinion, right? I was really hoping that we're gonna see a bit more of a fast-paced game style. I'm very biased towards I want to see spicier, more aggressive games. But again, I mean, at the end of the day, it's the meta, right? It's the most effective tactic at this point in time. So if that's how it's gonna be played, it is what it is. It's still plenty to see in the quote unquote Filipino style. So either way, we win as fans. So
we do. You know why we win as fans as well, Arashi? Because we're always looking at people. We're always looking at people's Instagram, social media, right? And because of all that attention, sometimes things do get leaked. Unfortunately or fortunately for us fans, Alter Ego's roster reveal was kind of leaked by the editor here. Posted this picture on I think it was on Twitter. But yeah, he posted this picture on Twitter. I think at this point it's intentional, right? He paused at the right moment there. There's no way it wasn't intentional. But Alter Ego have also revealed their rosters. I've been a big fan of Alter Ego. Yeah. This is a solid roster. Honestly, I feel like this is such a solid roster, right? I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't think it was broke. I don't think it was broken. I thought it was always... this is the full picture, by the way, if you guys wanted to know. So it was there's some coffee there, too. But yeah. Ahmad is back. That's the only thing that's changed. Defcoach is still in. No Amy. No Rex Lona. Defcoach is still in. But Ahmad Maungzi, the man, the myth, the legend, the man who was unfortunately unable to participate during M2 because of COVID, he's back. And he's back with a vengeance, bro. He played in MDL like a madman. He was so good in MDL. Unfortunately, there's a big question, though. There's a doubt in my head. Where is he going to play? Where is he going to play? Because in MDL, he played as a mid laner. He was a mid laner. He wasn't an XP lane. And obviously, you know who's the XP laner. He wasn't a gold lane. And Nino's already popping off in gold lane. So where is he going?
Maybe he'll be that switch hitter, right? Like when things go tough, it's him to the rescue. Well, again, we have to see. He played a lot of he's very flexible as well, right? Because he has a...
Yeah.
I remember when he was really standing out, he was playing a lot of Beatrix mid. Right, so I mean, he can do a lot of different things, and I mean, I recall you've been saying you really enjoy watching his streams. Like he's a
Pi.
Generally, the people from Alter Ego, just fun people.
Pi, Sully Boy, Pi is a funny guy, man. He's a funny man.
He's just super hype, and you always have a good time watching his streams. You've been telling me it's just funny. I really like Alter Ego as well. I think if it wasn't RRQ, I would say Alter Ego. For me personally, so, and again, they are one of the only teams I saw who really took that. I was hoping okay, we're gonna see something aggressive, and then out of nowhere, Alter Ego against EVOS, they just pull out the most aggressive playstyle we've seen in the whole season, right?
Yeah.
Where you can be behind your second turret, and you still won't be safe. They'll dive you with 4 people, and they do it so cleanly as well against a team as established as EVOS, right? So I was really hoping that they won, right? And they went forward. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. I wonder if they're going to go with the same style in the next season, though. That's my main question, right? Because they can do both, but we all know that Alter Ego, it really seems that they are on fire when they go ham in that early game, right? We saw, as we mentioned, Sally Boy playing late game, playing slow. That's not him, right?
No.
Assassins. That's where most of the members just shine, Even Nino, right? When he was popping off, he was just so active all the way since level 2. He'll make moves from level 2 and already have such a big impact. So I think at their core, they're just a team that wants to go hard, go fast. Don't quote me out of
Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious, exactly. So I am very excited to see how they play.
Yeah.
A lot of expectations.
A lot of expectations as well from me with this roster. We've seen, yeah. Honestly, I don't know. I just really like this roster, right? It feels like a family. It doesn't feel like a team. It feels like they're just
True.
yeah, they're so close to each other. Yeah, it feels like a brothership. Yeah, I really like this team, but there's just not much to talk about because it's basically the same roster as last season. There are no imports, or I'm not sure about Nasi Udok, right? Because there's no like farewell for Nasi Udok. I really hope he stays. He's a very solid coach as well. But we'll see the official one later when they actually reveal it properly. But before that, Arashi, it's time to take a look at the last topic, the last roster we're going to talk about today. It is the Dark Horse, or probably the Dark Bulls. Rebellion Zion.
The Blue Bulls.
The Blue Bulls of MPL ID, the Rebellion Zion team. This team was so good in the early game. Every single game, every early stage, they always pop off. Even against RRQ, they were winning in the early game, right? But yeah, they've always kind of fell flat when it mattered, right?
Right.
They were so close to making it to playoffs, but they didn't make it in the end. With this roster, again, they've stayed literally the same. They've just added, 2 more members into their team, but the main 5 that we saw the last time was still here, right? And they kicked. Well, Birol isn't here anymore. Birol was Farewell, the previous goal laner, and Jisa is actually making a move to the gold lane, which is very interesting. So Fearless still. I think the main lineup is still going to be Fearless, Dairen, Val, Jisa, and Suelo, right? I think that's still going to be the main 5. Obviously, we have these 2 extra members that will compete for their roles. But I think, I like this. Rebellion, the thing that I disliked about them, or that I disliked about them in Season 9 was they're playing a little bit they were too comfortable, perhaps. They were swapping out players left and right for no reason, if I feel like. They were doing well, and then they swap in, they swap in the players here. Let's swap in the XP lane for Ziri Asigan. Let's swap in the mid lane for this. And they keep on swapping their roles. And at one point, it just felt like it was just so easy to read, for the enemy team. Because again, synergy plays a huge part. If you keep on changing your rosters like that on stage, it's going to affect the team.
For sure. And I think that might just be them trying to find their footing and trying to figure out which comp do we actually like the most. They're relatively new, right? So with the main roster, I mean, obviously questions about Jisa moving towards the gold lane because we've always mentioned how he's good with assassins. He has high mechanical skill, and of course, being a marksman in the gold lane, you're gonna need mechanical skill as well, right? But in a different way. It's almost like you should have a lot more knowledge instead of mechanical skill, because it's more about knowing what dangers you're facing and how to skirt around it, right? Compared to actually just mechanically dodging everything. So if he can supplement his pure skill already with a bit more knowledge, essentially, I think he can do great in the gold lane, especially with how much emphasis is there right now. And Val is still here, and he has been the tip of the spear for Rebellion Zion, right? He's always been the main aggression, the main tool, and the main playmaker, essentially. He's always on the highlights. So I think they have a lot of potential if they can, I don't know, try and build around it, I guess. Questions again about how they want to play though, because are they going to try and, I don't know, copy, well, I say copy, but I mean adapt and use the slower gameplay of the Philippines, or are they going to try and stick to their roots, right, and just go ham? That we'll have to see.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think with that out of the way, I think it's the same for me. Not really a lot of opinions about Rebellion Zion. I think they are going to be better this season, but I think it's time to just talk about it because everyone's been spamming in the chat about BONCHAN's list. Let's react to it. All right, final one. Here we go, guys, because everybody's been asking for it, but there's one. You need to do us a favor. Like the video, please, ladies and gentlemen. Like the video if you guys have enjoyed your time, and obviously like the video if you guys want to see our reaction to Coach BONCHAN's rankings. Obviously, guys, if you guys want to see the full list and his explanation, please do visit his channel. I'm going to pop a screenshot of his power rankings at towards the end of the video. But if you guys want to know his exact reasons as to why he picked these, teams in the order that he did, please do check him out. Arashi, What are your thoughts here? You're looking at it. You're glancing at it. Number one is EVOS. So what I said earlier could be could be fully realized here. That's very EVOS.
Right.
Wow.
I would expect, like, at a glance, right? Like, without thinking too much about it, I was gonna think like, okay, probably RRQ on top, no? Because like just how well they've been performing, and again, they don't have a lot of changes in their composition, right? It's for the most part the same thing, but they're number two and EVOS is number one, so that is very very surprising. And I think the question people will be asking is that, well, is the I don't know, is the player change the reason for that, or is it the new staff? Is it the fact that Coach Zace is not in full control? There's a lot of like controversy around that as well. So a lot of interesting thoughts here, honestly, seeing EVOS at number one.
Yeah. In the video, he said that this is based on their scrims against them, right? So blacklist
Right.
scrims against these teams. So this is very interesting. Again, I actually thought like Onyx would be pretty high up in the rankings, right? Because
Right.
obviously with all the rumors, I don't know if you guys have heard. There's like a no-namer jungler who just joined their team, and a coach that's been to a final of an event. Don't know what that event is, but
Yes,
yeah,
I never met them yet.
never met them yet. Never took them out to eat pork. Onyx, number 5. I mean, in the vlog, they did kind of say that they're like, Blacklist is kind of our kryptonite, right? So maybe it's just because styles makes matchups, right?
Yep.
Different styles obviously will have a harder time against different teams, and maybe Onyx just doesn't have a good time against Blacklist, but maybe up against all the other teams, they will be good. Geek Fam, though, is very interesting here because rumor has it, there's a rumor floating around that they have 2 Filipino players, and BONCHAN still ranks them at number 8. I honestly want Rebellion and Geek Fam to make it to the playoffs, right? That's what I want. I want to see something spicy happen. And the thing that BONCHAN now with this list is just like, you're kind of shattering my hopes of that happening.
Let's flip it around and ask you, like, okay, Rebellion and Geek Fam finally making it to playoffs. At whose cost, though?
Exactly, you know?
Who are you willing to,
I
like,
mean, if we're looking
you know,
at Coach BONCHAN's list, then it's Alter Ego and Onyx that don't make it, right? If we're looking at BONCHAN's list, I don't know.
Could you say something so controversial yet so brave?
What, you know what would be crazy, Arashi? I think the craziest would be if RRQ and EVOS did not qualify for the playoffs, and Geek Fam
way,
Rebellion.
dude.
Yeah, if that happens, now I think that would be crazy. But obviously, I think they're just 2 very strong teams at the moment. Obviously, I mean, Coach BONCHAN ranking them number 1 EVOS. Remember, this is the EVOS that they don't have veterans supposedly, right? So this is interesting. This is interesting. Oh, is this reverse psychology? Is Geek Fam actually number 1?
He's trying to sway the public opinion, essentially, trying to use it against Geek Fam. All right, number 3, though, by the way.
Yeah. So
There's
yeah.
no rumors on, like, Filipino transfers, right?
No. No
And still number
transfers.
3.
No. I mean, there's no official lineup yet. There's no rumors about like who's. It doesn't feel like Aura is gonna change. But this is interesting, number 3, because I thought that their best chance at getting that MPL trophy was last season. Because the meta just fit, you know? The meta fit their play style. Now with Assassins, I'm really wondering, you know, again, guys, we will do our own power rankings on MPL ID, maybe on MPL PH as well, when the rosters are actually all revealed. Because right now we have a few, it's here and there, we have a few. RRQ have revealed the roster. Bigatron, Onyx hasn't even revealed the roster, but we already know who Onyx has. Alter Ego, Rebellion. We're waiting for Geek Fam, Aura, and EVOS. Once those 3 teams reveal their roster, then we will do our own power rankings, perhaps in the next episode of SarCAST. But that's going to be a fun one. That's going to be a very, very interesting one. But yeah. Damn, this is sad for me because this is kind of like the expected rankings, you know? I wanted my expectations to be subverted. I wanted my expectations to be shattered. Geek Fam, please prove them wrong. Prove everyone wrong, please. Like, make it to the playoffs.
I mean, like, this could be like their breakout season, you know, because like no one was taking Aura seriously, right? With how they've been performing, it was abysmal, and out of nowhere they just like rose from the ashes. So I don't know. I think Geek Fam has the chance to do that as well. I think all teams do. We never really count them out. Of course, we have our opinions swayed a bit by the data, right? By the history, by the stats. But overall, especially when we're on duty, right? If you're on the desk, we always give teams a chance. Dude. There's always a chance, right? It's never really over till it's over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, and obviously we always respect. Yeah, because they're not good. Like they're on the bottom as far as like the MPL goes, but like they're still great players, man. You know, I don't think we can say confidently like, oh, they suck. We can do better. It's like
No.
not really. No.
Yeah.
And I'm old. I have like slow hands. Mirko maybe.
Okay, maybe, perhaps, maybe season 11, guys. I'll play in MPL. Maybe ? No, but yeah, PH have all revealed their rosters. I know, but today is more of a like we just want to talk about the news circulating here in MPL ID because there's just so much. If we talk about the entire roster, all the teams of MPL PH, it's gonna be a little bit too much. I feel like so we're gonna put that into one episode. Maybe next week. So it's just rankings. The whole episode is just rankings. So we rank MPL ID, MPL PH, maybe their jerseys too, because their jerseys are looking good, right? Especially Blacklist and NXPE. NXPE Blacklist, you can give me a call if you want to send me those jerseys, bro.
It's great.
If you want to send me those jerseys, you know who to call, buddy.
Mirko Classic.
Yeah. Every roster is gonna be interesting. EVOS, the Larski rumor. I think it's true. I think all the rumors that we've seen are true. At this point, none of them have been wrong.
You have to question if the rumors are actual rumors or are they just like leaked info?
Yeah, it feels like it's just leaks because every rumor has been true. Branz to EVOS? Oh, what a surprise. Kyrie to Onyx? Oh, yeah. And Yeb to Onyx. And then Delarski to EVOS? Seems like it's going to happen. Marky to BTR? I mean, his silhouette was there, so his neck. Arashi noticed his neck first.
Marky, no offense, man. Just making an observation. I think again, you have to question like if it's like organized, like the rumors and the announcement timings. Right? There's a formula for social media, and it's no secret. Right? I don't think it's any secret that like the esports scene is very small. Relatively to other industries, right?
Yeah.
Like TV or anything. So
you're a TV.
Fly really fast, and a lot of them are very accurate, right? This is because of the nature of the industry. Just have a TV.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I like how you there's a delay. Are you lagging? Ping spike ? But yeah, man.
Like,
I can't. Yeah.
Finish my thoughts, bro. Come on.
Yeah, it's been a good episode though. This has been a good episode. We got a lot of topics to talk about. Luckily, we didn't do an episode last week because I feel like it was a kind of a drought, right? It was a calm before the storm of all these crazy news. But yeah, I want to thank everybody in the chat for watching. Everybody in the all the viewers here. We have 460 concurrent viewers. I think that's the peak this stream. But yeah, guys, it'd be very appreciated if you guys leave a like, leave a comment, because obviously SarCAST is a weekly thing. We'll try to do it even during MPL ID. Hopefully, we're able to do that if we're not burnt out. And I also stream here every single day. You can catch Arashi. He usually streams on Twitch, but he's taking a break right now. He might be getting into it.
I just don't know when to start. I might start on YouTube as well, but I don't know what to stream even. So.
Yeah. So if you guys want to follow Arashi, there you go. The YouTube is below his face cam at Owashi on Instagram and on YouTube. I'm not sure about Twitch. I'm not even sure if he's gonna be streaming on Twitch anymore. But yeah, man. Any last words to say to the viewers, Arashi?
Thanks for stopping by, dude. I don't know. I never really felt like people are going to be that interested. That's just how I operate. I'm always like negative like that. So I mean, the fact that you guys are showing up and watching us. Well, I mean, whether you're here for Mirko or me or both, right? I really appreciate you guys coming out. And yeah, if you guys enjoy it, there's no reason why we can't like do this more often, right? Me and Mirko.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, thanks for the support, guys.
Thanks for the support, man. And again, like, subscribe, because we will do our official power rankings of MPL ID, MPL PH. Maybe we'll do a fun little thing about the jersey tier list thing, right? Maybe as well. So go and do that, ladies and gentlemen. I guess that's it from me and for Owashi Hoshi. It's time to say goodbye. It's always that time, man. Sad times, but goodbye, everybody. See you in the next stream, which is going to be tomorrow. Peace out.
Drop the roof and let the smoke clear.